Hi everybody, Honest John here. When the 9/11 attack on the World Trade Center happened, it was widely considered to be a failure on the part of our intelligence agencies. And to an extent, people still have that opinion. But nothing could be further from the truth. In the summer before the attack, President George W. Bush and his top advisors received a report that said Osama bin Laden was determined to attack the United States. And his terrorist group, Al-Qaeda, had already attacked the World Trade Center during the Bill Clinton administration. In fact, Clinton had warned Bush about Al-Qaeda during the transition, saying this was the biggest threat that Bush would have to deal with. But the Bush administration ignored it. Bush had also received a briefing that informed him that flight instructors were reporting that there were a number of young Arab men taking flying lessons that had no interest in learning to either take off or land the airplane. So all it would have taken to prevent the 9/11 attack was for Bush or one of his top advisors to tell the FBI to investigate that information, to bring those people in and find out what they were up to. If that had happened, it would most likely have led to efforts to capture and kill bin Laden and his associates, but there would not have been an Afghanistan war, and probably no second Iraq war, no Patriot Act, no massive expansion of intelligence agencies, and none of the abuses of power which were part of it as part of the war on terror. Our history and the history of the world for the past 20 years would have been much different, especially in the Middle East. It was not an intelligence failure. It was a leadership failure on the part of the Bush administration, which had all the information they needed to prevent the 9/11 attack. Now, on January 6th, we had an attack on the Capitol by MAGA scumbags. There has also been talk about intelligent failures in that case. But once again, what we have learned is that the Capitol Police, the leadership of the Capitol Police, had internal intelligence reports that warned that Trump supporters were planning to attack the Capitol and that there was going to be a significant amount of violence. They also received warnings from the FBI and even the New York Police Department. And the Department of Homeland Security had circulated reports and emails warning of the potential for violence by extremist groups attending the pro-Trump rally on that day. The Federal Protective Service, which is responsible for protecting federal property, was also circulating documents warning of the potential for violence of at Trump's January 6th rally. So once again, it appears that the information was available to prevent the attack on the Capitol, but it wasn't acted on. In this case, a lot of that had to do with the fact that Trump was president, and his appointees to different positions did not want to take a chance on pissing Trump off. Trump was, after all, very much involved in the planning of the attack. We know from his 4 years that the president tweets and retweets that he is regularly visiting the websites, the racist websites, where the attack was planned. He knew what was coming and he was counting on it. Imagine how furious he would have been if his rally was surrounded by the National Guard or a large show of force by the police. He would have been furious. So the only conclusion that one can come to is that the attack on the Capitol happened because the people in charge did not want to incur the president's wrath. Why is that important? Because there will probably be legislation passed in Congress as a reaction to the January 6th attack. And this legislation should be based on the facts, not on a false perception. Since there was no intelligence failure, there is no need, for example, to expand the powers of our intelligence agencies into our domestic politics. Now, there should be a way for the President of the United States to designate certain groups, such as the Proud Boys, as domestic terror groups. But we need to be very careful about that, and the criteria for that designation need to be very strict and specific, so that groups who fall under that designation are serious, violent groups intent on either overthrowing the government or attacking people in the United States. The passing of the President Act resulted in expansion of the powers of the President and the intelligence agency in ways that were not necessary and resulted in abuses. And that should not be allowed to happen again. Thanks for listening.